Santa. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. Are you okay with that? You've been groomed from birth to accept Kris Kringle's voyeuristic and home invasion habits as normal. But it's time to put a stop to this obsessive stalker. With Anti-Santa Home Defense, you can create a safe haven away from the prying eyes of St. Nick and make him think twice before breaking and entering into your home. With solutions as simple as tinted windows up to patent-pending security measures such as humane Santa Trap fireplace inserts or the more permanent Anti-Santa poison cookies, we have just what you need. Just go to fuckyourcoal.com and use HMT at checkout on your first order to receive a free bag of reindeericide. That's Anti-Santa Home Defense, because he better watch out. Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.
An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Go, 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 go.
I just had to stroll through the scraggly woods.
He had no face!
Horror!
Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
New theatrical releases always get priority.
But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible.
Wow, that didn't sound good.
Hello, horror movie fans. Welcome to Horror Movie Talk. Your panel of expert hosts each week are me, Dr. Bryce Hansen. I hold a PhD in spookology. And on my, directly in front of me,
I'm Professor David Day, the foremost expert in scare no-nos.
So welcome. If you're new to the podcast, check out our website at horrormovietalk.com. There you'll find links to all the things. We post new episodes every Wednesday, and we also recently released after shows for The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor. If you're fans of those shows, check those out. If you want to leave us a voicemail, let us know what you think, good or bad, at 682-253-4468.
I gotta say, also, I think our fans are sleeping on the t-shirts. I'm just saying. I don't think they know they exist, or maybe they've got their fill of them. But for those of you who don't know, we have high quality, super soft, sized to fit Horror Movie Talk t-shirts that have our logo, and they come in black and red.
Hold the phone. They're sized to fit?
That's right.
Well, goddamn.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a... there was someone that like saw our logo or something that was like, I would wear that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like,
good news.
Well, yeah, good news. Okay, we got a great show today. We're going to be talking about Better Watch Out, because it's December and we're watching some Christmas horror movies. We'll start out by giving a brief review and our score for the film. We score on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a miserable dredge where it makes you angry, 5 being an average film that hits all the expected marks, and 10 being so good it transcends genre boundaries. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked it to hate it about the film. And then later on, we're bringing it back, baby. A good old game called Kill Count.
Love this one.
Yeah. Not related to Dead Meat's Kill Count at all.
No, this was our original idea.
This was our thing, even though
we named it back in 2008 before we even knew each other.
Mm-hmm. And we'll check that out. Originally, I wanted to do a game where callers would leave voicemails saying the thing that they need to better watch out for, the bad thing that they did this year that Kris Kringle would be sad at them for. I posted it too late and no one left a voicemail.
Yeah, you gotta get on it quite quick.
So anyways, we watched Better Watch Out, and it's gotten me in the mood for Christmas.
This was available on Shudder?
It was available on Shudder and various platforms that are ad-supported.
By the way, HMT at checkout gets you 30 free days of Shudder.
Yeah.
And if you want to subscribe, that actually really helps us out because they're a real sponsor of ours. I watched it. It is also available on Prime. It is just available on Prime.
To rent or
to
watch?
To watch for free, yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
It tries to do the thing, if you have a Fire Stick, it tries to do the thing where it's like, hey, you can watch it on Tubby.
Oh.
And it's like, I don't wanna. And then you go into more watch options. It's like, oh yeah, it's also free here, and the thing that you pay for us. Why are you fucking trying so hard to disguise the shit that I pay for, Amazon?
Right. Okay, let's play the trailer for Better Watch Out.
David.
Want to put her in the mood? Watch a horror movie.
Dude, she's like twice our age. I really don't think it's gonna happen.
She's here.
You are breathtaking.
Thank you. Now don't stay up and watch scary movies, okay? It'll give you nightmares again.
So what do you want to do?
Ricky, why can't you just leave me alone?
He's such a jerk.
Don't hang up on me.
What was that?
What the fuck?
Oh my god.
Get away from the window.
There's someone there.
Ashley! Are you hiding? I'll find you.
Don't worry, I'll protect you. This is exciting.
What are you doing, man? Please let me out of this.
You're fucking home alone again? Lighten the fuck up. Why can't exes just go away?
Okay, so I'd recommend that you don't watch the trailer, the video.
Oh yeah, no.
It gives way too much away.
Way too much.
Even the audio. Yeah.
I ran out of the room and came back towards the very end of that trailer, and I can tell you I am disappointed in their ability to make a trailer, because, man, this movie does not need it. It
Yeah.
is... Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of also spoiling it to say that there's a twist, but there is a twist.
Yeah, there is.
But it's hard to... You might not expect what it is.
Yes. Well, that's the point.
Yeah. That's
So,
what the twist is.
Listen, I'll just say this before we get into anything. In my opinion, you should just go watch this shit. That's my opinion. I think you should definitely go watch this movie because I had a great time.
Yeah, especially during Christmas time. You know, you've seen National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation like 20 times.
Yeah, you don't need to see that shit.
Okay, so Better Watch Out is, like I said, is available on Shudder. Use code HMT at checkout if you want to get a 30-day free trial there, and also other various streaming platforms. So Better Watch Out starts out as a home invasion thriller and turns into something completely different. Young Lucas, played by Levi Miller, is a 12-year-old that has the hots for his only 5 years older babysitter, Ashley, played by Olivia DeJonge.
Yeah.
He's got a whole night planned out to seduce Ashley with horror movies and his mid-pubescent body. As they're hanging out, having pizza, someone starts terrorizing them. You won't believe who it is. Click through to horrormovietalk.com to find out. This is a pleasant surprise of a home invasion movie. It stays on the well-laid trope tracks until about a third of the way through the film. Then it goes off the tracks and then onto essentially the same tracks again. The concept was interesting, and they did do a lot with it. I think it could have gone farther with the setup and delay the twist a little longer. Another gripe is that the villain was way too broad a lot of the time, but it's a thoroughly enjoyable movie. It's not, to me, like a classic. I've kind of been oversold on this a lot. It's on the top of the list for like Christmas horror movies.
Okay.
A lot of the time, it's not in my opinion, nowhere near Silent Night, Deadly Night.
If anybody sells anything to Bryce, he will be underwhelmed with it.
No.
Like, yeah, oh yeah. If anybody's like, Bryce, I think you'll like this movie, he'll go in and be like, I was really hoping it'd be a lot more.
I mean, Silent Night, Deadly Night is like, it's hard to beat. I mean, it's so unique and so well done. And like, there's nothing quite like it, in my opinion.
That's absolutely true. I think Silent Night, Deadly Night holds a special place in my heart.
This one is very, like, this is like 2 or 3 other movies that I've seen a million times put together. It's
I feel like you're wrong. I mean, it may be for you. I don't know.
I mean, it's enough of a new thing that I'm not going to rag on it. But it is a good movie. It's relatively simple. So I can't like get super enthusiastic about it.
One of my favorite parts about this movie was I called it at about the 20-minute mark. I just didn't realize to the extent to which I had called it.
Oh yeah.
And whether or not my calling it couldn't prepare me for the places this movie was about to go.
Right. Yeah. It ramps it up pretty well. I mean, it goes full R word.
Oh yeah.
At times. But yeah, I give it a score of 7 out of 10 for me. And it's probably like a higher 7.
So I knew nothing about this. In fact, when you texted me about what movies we were going to watch, you were like, your text to me read, "Better watch Out and Train to Busan." And I was like, "Is Out a horror movie?" And you're like, "No, Better Watch Out." I was like, "I got it. Okay, what are we? Yeah, but what about Out?" And you're like, "No, that's the name of the movie. Is quote." Better watch out. I was like, oh, okay. So that's how little I knew about this film. I knew nothing about it.
I had to post the poster.
Right. And I was like, oh! So I had no expectations at all going in, and it floored me to death. I was tickled. I loved it. I loved this movie. This is such a solid 9 to me.
Really?
Oh man, it's like this weird amalgamation of like Scream and really tongue-in-cheek comedy, horror movies as well. You know, it like knows itself a little bit. You know, it has a meta element to it.
It's a little bit like, I mean, this isn't a perfect analogy, but it's a little bit like Happy Death Day.
Yeah, it kind of winks at the audience at a couple different parts, and then the thing that I truly love about this movie is where it starts. Like the flavor that it starts out at is so wholesome and sweet and low key, and like you're like, okay, I know what this is, kind of like a fun holiday movie sort of thing, and then it ramps up into like ultimate retardation of like depravity and like so messed up that that ramp is really my favorite part. Is like it goes from one flavor of movie, which is like something I could see 11-year-olds kind of tittering about, and you know, and then it quickly reaches, or not quickly, kind of steadily ramps up into this fucking weird, horrific grossness.
Yeah.
And perversion. The perversion in this is strong, which is probably why I like it.
See, I wish they would have gone harder with the perversion part of it. Like, they could have gone so many more places with that. It's like, honestly, it almost doesn't make sense. And we'll talk about that in the spoilers. But anyways, yeah, I mean, it's a high 7 for me. I could be convinced to move it up to an 8. I don't think it's 9, 10 material. But
it was delightful for me.
Yeah,
like, I was just sitting there going...
All right. Well, speaking about delightful, it's a delight to have shaved balls, right?
Yeah.
Listen up, fellas. 2020 sucked. It's on the cusp of the new year, And that means you need some new balls with our sponsor, Manscaped. Manscaped is the best in men's below-the-belt grooming, offering precision-engineered tools for your family jewels and helping 2 million men all over the world get rid of hair on their balls.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this episode, there's still time to order some Manscaped. If you get right on it, it might be able to be delivered by Christmas.
Yeah.
Really kind of close, though. No pun intended.
But even if you do cut it close, you won't nick yourself because a Manscaped, it's
patented anti-cut.
No, it's skin safe technology.
Yeah, skin safe technology. That's the Lawnmower 3.0, which is waterproof and has skin-safe technology to reduce nicks on your two best friends. I mean, everyone talks about the balls, but I gotta say, like, right around the shaft is a real problem area, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to fold, you know? I mean, unless you're real skinny, there's...
Unless you're like Brad Pitt and you got like the arrows of your abs pointing down to your dick.
But even then, that's still a hard 90-degree angle.
Yeah, that's true.
And there is not much meant to get into 90-degree angles. But, interestingly enough, I had a vasectomy recently, and I had to shave everything down there so that a beautiful woman could come and then scrub my nuts up right before surgery. And she was wonderful, and I think I love her. But now we're getting off topic. The point is, she saw my junk, and it was well kept. Oh, also, my wife sometimes sees my junk, too.
Manscaped is here to give you a fresh start for 2021 with their Perfect Package 3.0 that has all the right tools for the job. It comes with Lawnmower 3.0. It comes with the Crop Preserver, which is an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer.
I love that stuff.
You already put deodorant on your armpits. Why are you not putting deodorant on the smelliest part of your body?
I don't even put deodorant under my armpits. I just put it on my nuts.
I know. And for on-the-go freshness, you'll love the Crop Reviver Ball Toner Spray. My balls are just... I'm never satisfied with their tone.
They're glistening now.
Yeah, now they're glistening.
Dewy.
They smell great. They're moisturized.
I can attest.
Yeah. So anyways, 2020 was awful, so make sure your boys are refreshed and ready for new beginnings in 2021.
Yee.
We have a special offer for our listeners. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code HMT at manscaped.com. Again, that's 20% off and free shipping with the code HMT at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Okay, drugs is the most important. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and it's not just because we've lowered our standards. OK Drugs has also lowered their prices for horror movie talk listeners, so you can check in, chew up, and tune out with OK Drugs Peach Eatables, a perfectly calming remedy for those seeking a gentle easing of worry. I don't know. I mean, I think there's probably a very, very, very small percentage of people that are having a hard time this year.
Yeah, maybe.
That are a little more stressed out than normal. I think on average, everyone's doing okay.
Yeah, mostly it's been a great year.
But if you are one of those people that have been more stressed than normal this year, check out OK Drugs Peach Eatables. Peach Eatables are vegan, THC-free, made with broad-spectrum CBD to help you relax and L-theanine to help you stay focused. Order your feel-good fix and use promo code HORROR to get 20% off your first order and find clarity. That's HORROR, HORROR.
And for me...
At checkout at okdrugs.co.
And for me... I love taking one of these little CBD peach eatables, like right before bed, because
that's when the voices come out for me.
I sit down and I start watching my shows, like the Great British Baking Show, which just finally concluded, and it was great. But I get to mellow out and I can feel my muscles relax as I'm sitting in the chair, which is something that does not happen for me. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a little bit highly strung. So these things really help me out, especially right before bed. Just kind of like get all the knots out. That's mostly my deal. Is I have a little bit of a back deal, and so I can feel my back relax as these things kick in. So it's great.
So again, the majority of people are living their best life this year.
Right.
But for those that need a little help calming down and being, have a gentle easing of worry, check out OK Drugs Peach Eatables at okdrugs.co. Use code HORROR to get 10% off your first order and find clarity.
Also, you guys can support our show by heading on over to patreon.com/horrormovietalk and selecting some tier that you will, that'll get you some form of of stuff that we give you in return for your money. So, like,
can you tell which ads are written down and which ones are ad-libbing?
Not really. So, like, basically, I have a policy where if anybody signs up to become a Patreon member, I'll send you a thank you card and some Horror Movie Talk stickers. We got 7 or 8 different sticker prints, and so I'll just throw a couple of those in there with the thank you card from us, and of course then there's also like the Afterpod. If you pay for the $5 a month tier, then you can you can listen to a year and a half worth of a whole other podcast that we do, where we basically talk shit about our wives and complain about various things, and also consider like our favorite shows, and it's just kind of our lives,
our lives outside of horror movies.
So support us on there. That'll help us out a lot. And then also, like I mentioned at the start of the show, you can rep some HMT gear if you head on over to our website, horrormovietalk.com/shop. From there, we got t-shirts and we got stickers and a bunch of crazy kooky crap for you, and it's already all on sale, so take advantage of that.
Check out our resident artist Dustin Goebel. He's a professional artist who fucks hard. He also takes commissions for artwork from HMT fans, which some of you have taken him up on, which is awesome. You can contact him at Instagram at dgoebel00. That's at DGOEBEL00 on Instagram, to make your artistic dreams come true. Tell him HMT sent you. If you want to leave us a voicemail, call 682-253-4458. Thanks again for listening. Let's get into spoilers.
You tried parallel parking in a burqa, David.
Spoilers.
That was a good one.
Okay, so better watch out.
Yeah, better watch out. You better watch out.
You better watch out. You better watch out. You better watch out. Better watch out. So this movie starts as one movie and then ends with another. It's a cookie cutter home invasion movie. The only difference is there's a little bit of like the teen teen movie.
It's not
aspect.
A little bit of a difference. It's a big difference, because these are like 12-year-olds being the perpetrators.
Right.
One of whom is kind of down with it, and the other of whom is super fucking down with it. and I don't even care why.
Yeah, I think like when it's talking about horny like teen movie stuff, it's always in high school. Like,
yeah.
And really, like, the scary age is like 12, 13.
Exactly.
Because you have no knowledge or understanding of human relationship.
You just have pure rage.
Yeah.
Pure rage and the inability to process any of it in any real serious way.
So the main character, Lucas, is going to be babysat by Ashley, which is his regular babysitter. She's only 5 years older. So if you're doing the math, so he's 12 and she's 17, which honestly, I mean, he has a good point.
Do you really need a babysitter? This is the one thing where I was like, nah.
Dude, I know. Dude, there's a family that moved into my church when I was still in the Mormon church.
You think Patrick Warburton was just trying to go to bat for his kid here?
That's a possibility.
It was just like, okay, kid, I'll tee it up for you. You knock it out of here.
Right.
Here's she coming on over. I know you could do it. I believe in you, buddy.
So there was this family that moved into my ward congregation for the non-Mormon people. And one of the first things they asked, like in Elders Quorum, which is the men's group, was like, does anyone know of any babysitters for our kids? We've got like 5 kids. It's like ages 7, 9, and 10,
22,
12, and 17.
Ew.
There was like a teenager, like years from adulthood,
right?
Like less than 5 years from adulthood, and they're asking for a babysitter. Like, what the fuck is going on in that family?
You have
that you can't.
You
trust.
already have 2 babysitters in there.
You got like 3.
Yeah.
Like Penny, my daughter, is going to be 8, and I'm like, we could probably trust her for like a couple hours.
Boy, you're just like my parents.
I mean,
my parents were like, he's 7, Garrett's 3. That's good enough.
Well, it's surprising how capable they look.
Yeah.
At an early age, but then you leave them alone for like an hour and they're like an utter wreck,
right?
And crying and like, I didn't have anyone here.
Yeah,
I didn't know what to do.
In a pinch, they fold like paper mache dolls.
Yeah, and they have no concept of how to deal with any problems. But anyways, yeah, 12 is a little old, but it's still, to me, realistic.
Well,
especially,
and then the other thing is, this kid was actually probably closer to 15. You know,
right? Yeah,
he was cast, young.
I think I checked his age. I think he was 14. Man, he was like within a couple years of it.
All the actors in this were great. They were great.
Yeah,
I really liked this kid.
Yeah, so Lucas, what he had going for him. So Levi Miller is the actor. He looked really familiar to me, and it's because I just watched. My one of my daughter's favorite films right now is Wrinkle in Time, and he's with Oprah, and what's his name? The kid that's not from the family is played by Levi Miller. That was a good one.
Way to go! So proud of you.
So the thing that Levi Miller has going for him, and he's at the perfect stage for squeaky screaming.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, absolutely. Like,
no!
Like, right in the center of puberty.
Yeah.
Like, does not have the voice change yet, but is not like a kid.
Yeah.
It's just perfectly squeaky and can turn it on, like, with a switch.
Yeah.
So he's perfect. So, I mean, they're laying down plans to fuck this babysitter, and it's, to be honest, it's not a bad plan.
What's the plan?
Watch horror movies and get her drunk, I guess.
Yeah, I gotta say. Okay, so the aesthetic of this movie, just right off the bat, it feels very. So the font that they choose to do, like the intro credits. And the music,
very classic Christmas movie.
Very classic 50s feel.
Yeah, like full scored, which is a nice touch. You don't see that much.
This is really what tees up the movie very well. And then all the characters are very classic this or classic that. So you have Patrick Warburton playing the dad, and he's just standard kind of 50s dad. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it's kind of this vibe of him like being like, okay, son, teeing it up. You have a good night. We're going to go out and have some nightcaps. Goodbye. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know, something about this kid, he kind of fits into this cookie cutter of like
very
classic,
teen comedy kind of area.
Right. He's like kind of classic 50s kid, but also like really perverted and fucked up, which is an interesting lane.
Yeah.
It's like,
cool. Which I'm very familiar with from my own experience.
Right. Yeah.
I was Yeah. I was very close to this kid. In more areas than I want to admit. So, yeah, the one area that kind of tips off that there's something a little off about this kid is that he immediately starts like chugging alcohol in front of the babysitter, which is like, this is a pretty bold move this early on. Mm-hmm. He's like, she's like, kiddo, what the hell are you doing? It's like, I drink all the time with my friend.
I like to fuck. She's like, okay. I do too, but...
Do you like developing dicks? Anyways, there was a couple questions I had in this before we get into more of the movie. Just personal experiences. He mentions, it's only a 5-year difference, which it's really interesting when you're a young kid. Like, you do that math where you're like, hey, wait a minute.
That's a third of my life.
My parents are 5 years... have a 5 years age difference, and it feels like nothing, and really it's not when you're older.
Right.
But if you're in kindergarten and it's like a 6th grade or something, you're like, Jesus Christ, that's like...
Oh, look at God walking over there.
And it's like almost similar between middle school and high school. You're like, what? They are on another level, but they're only 5 years, so maybe there's a chance.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a chance.
And, it's not outside the realm of reality either. Yeah. I mean, there is a chance. There are those kids in middle school who are have no business being as mature looking as they are. And then there are those in high school who would totally be like, yeah, okay, I'm very horny, so let's do that thing.
Oh, this hurts so much.
Why?
I just want to play the drop. But I can't.
Oh, yeah, no.
Promise
Ew,
not
David.
to.
No, don't.
Ew. David.
Like, but when you think about it, as an adult, 5 years age difference is really creepy. Like, if you talk about, okay, and I know we could get into a whole thing, but if you're talking about, like, a 17-year-old dating a
12-year-old.
23-year-old or whatever it would be.
No, do 12. That's a better... that'll
like
really put the period on
22-year-old, it's like, something is wrong with that 20-year-old. Like, that's not right. If you just look at development-wise, that's like, yeah, you can argue, like, blah, blah, that's not that far that in age.
I think the movie has a better premise, which is 17 and 12, because that's obviously not okay. Like...
Right.
17 and 12? 12? No.
See, I don't know why I feel like the 20, what would it be?
22 and 17? Wow. He's counting on his fingers, folks.
22-year-old. Wow. So like a 22-year-old and a 17-year-old, somehow that feels much, much worse than a 17 and 12-year-old to me. And I'll tell you why.
Ew.
Two of them, so 17 and 12, they're both still basically kids, and they're both like have raging hormones and make bad decisions because their frontal cortex is just not developed at all for decision making. So that's almost like makes sense. Still like predatory and still like not great. But like a 20
Isn't all sex predatory?
But 22-year-old to 17-year-old, that's like
maybe I've just been doing it wrong. Call me old-fashioned.
Their brain, the 22-year-old's brain is like nearly fully developed. They have been out in the real world for years. And they're like, 17-year-old, like, I could bag that. Yeah, and I'm sure like there's the statutory rape ages or might even be within that range, but it's like... Anyway, so my question to you is...
It's all wrong to me.
How close an age was your... What's the closest in age you had a babysitter?
She was like...
David, will you please give me a hug?
Yes. I was like, yes. To be honest with you, I can't even remember having a babysitter.
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever had a babysitter. My parents just kind of went... you got this, bucko. And I was like, fucking A right, I do. And then they'd come home to Garrett being just pulverized into a corner and being like, talk shit, get hit. And they were like, story checks out.
Yeah, I thought you might have had a younger babysitter since you were the oldest. I was the youngest, so I always had my siblings. So my brother is 6 years older than me, so there was always that kind of built in. But also what happened,
didn't go out and do things.
Yeah, well, my parents would go on vacations and leave us alone for like a week, you know. So yeah, there's kind of built in, but in reality what happened was my brother and sister would just fuck off and just not even pay attention to me. Right. So I didn't really have a babysitter at all. Lucky for them, I was a good kid that didn't want to cause any trouble.
I don't want no trouble.
Have you ever been a paid babysitter before? Did you ever... So I know you babysit Garrett. Did you ever babysit a stranger's kids for pay?
What kind of monster would hire me to watch their kids? No, I don't think so. Have you?
I have. I had one family that I babysat that lived behind us. It's pretty rare for boys to be babysitters because there's a built-in fear.
Right.
You know?
The penis.
Rightly so.
Well, I don't know. Is it?
To a certain extent.
It's my understanding that men and women are essentially the same. So I don't know what fear you're talking about.
I mean, I can say I was a babysitter when I was, older, middle school to high school. And I can say, like, I'm not sure I would want a boy that age to be babysitting my kids.
No, David.
Because I know the depraved things that were in my mind. Not necessarily that the kids were ever in danger, but I'm like...
Not necessarily.
I wouldn't want...
Did you hear that, fellow listeners?
No.
Not necessarily that anyone was in any specific danger.
But, I just don't want to leave a pubescent boy alone in my house that I don't know.
Yeah.
Just like...
Sounds like you're sexist to me. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Anyways, I don't want to go into detail for self-incrimination reasons. But anyways, so we're into this.
We skipped over one thing, which is at the very start of the movie. This is what allowed me to call it, which is him and his buddy. They're hanging out. He's playing video games, reading a book or whatever. They're talking, doing 12-year-old kid shit. And they get talking about Home Alone, the movie. And I was like, this is going to be Home Alone in reverse. This movie is going to be reverse Home Alone, because why else would they bring that up? Their discussion was, well, the paint can, when he drops it on his head, that would just crack his skull clean open. I'm like, no, it just bounce off him. Well, I guess it depends on how they're having this argument, right? And it's an innocent enough argument because we've all thought about it. And at this point, I was like, this is just going to be Home Alone in reverse. And it did. Instead of getting the people out, you got to keep them in.
Right.
Which is kind of this interesting, different take on like home invasion.
Right.
It's like keep the people in, don't let them out.
Right. Yeah. That's
with
a good
a whole
call.
Bunch of wide variety of wacky shit.
That was definitely a very obvious, like, this is going to be called back later. Like, that's the gun over the mantle,
right?
in a play in Act 1. You know that paint can's going to be happening. So their parents leave them alone. Ashley gets a phone call. It feels almost like a Black Christmas reference, except there's not heavy breathing.
Right.
Definitely like a...
Oh my God, you couldn't cover your mouth?
No, I couldn't.
Why?
I sneezed over there. It's okay. It's only...
I saw so much shit come out of your face. You just cover your fucking mouth when you sneeze. Gross.
Okay. So they...
No, you gotta sit through this now.
Ew. Ew, David. Ew, no, David. Oh my God, ew, David.
Now I lost track.
Well, good. Yeah, you deserve that. So, they're sitting there and they're watching horror movies, and it's kind of working.
Yeah, so,
and then she gets the Black Christmas phone call.
Yeah, there's a lot of tropes in this movie around like home invasion, getting the call with no one answering, little weird things happening outside, that doors opening that were closed. You're like, what the heck? Who's going in and out? And what's happening?
Yeah.
And then very quickly it reveals that, yes, they are being stalked. They're very hilariously inept at like dealing with it.
Yeah.
Because Luke tosses Ashley her phone and wacky thing happens. It falls in the fish tank.
Yeah.
And like all these things where it's like, obviously you're going to do this. You call 911.
Call back to a couple episodes ago or a couple afterpods ago where we had my buddy Biggin on, and he told us, you guys, pretty much for the past 3 or 4 years, every phone that you can buy is waterproof. So just take that in the shower and jerk off in there with it.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's opened up whole new worlds of possibilities.
Did it? Have you?
I still can't do it. I can't.
It's creepy.
I can't take in my phone into my shower.
Mine's been broken this whole time, so I can't really.
That's like a problem with horror movies now.
Yeah,
is
the
like
cell phone really...
Figuring out how to do away with the cell phone. You can go from like the Black Christmas 2019 of like have them all run into each other and the cell phones go flying up in the air and they run away for some reason, to having it break deliberately or having it accidentally break. This one, it did that, and then the one thing that it was like it broke the suspension of disbelief for me. It's like, why don't you immediately run out of the house? Like immediately go to the neighbors.
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't that be the first thing you do? Just run.
Well, because it's been displayed that you get shot.
See, and then as I was having that thought, they read the brick that got thrown through the window. Right. It says, you leave, you die. And so it's like, oh, okay. And then the friend, what's the friend's name? Garrett. He tries running away and gets immediately shot and quote unquote killed. And which was also like that, they must have been a really good shot.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty hard to hit a moving target.
And well placed.
Yeah.
Like you gotta be in the right place at the right time.
So they're being terrorized. And about a third of the way through the movie, I don't know how much we want to talk about like the first third. It's pretty generic in home invasion.
Yeah.
They're hiding, people are stalking. They get a gun, but for some reason he doesn't want to shoot the guy because she says, no, don't shoot the guy. That would solve all our problems. And they hide in a closet and they're stalking. And then she realizes that the invader is wearing Luke's mask.
Yeah. The mask from his closet.
Yeah.
And
she's like, what the fuck? Who is... And then she realized that, after he scratches his shoulder blade, like...
That's what Garrett does. Garrett has a rash on his shoulder. He's got an itchy shoulder.
Yeah.
And so she's like, wait a minute. It's just Garrett.
She comes out and calls him out on it. And all of a sudden it's revealed that there's no home invader. It's Garrett and Luke. Fucking with her.
Yeah, fucking with her the whole time.
Because they want to fuck her.
Right. And so...
The premise is like they want to get her scared by watching horror movies so that she'll cuddle up to him. Why not take that a step further and actually terrorize her? And that way...
Everybody knows...
Get to fuck?
Everybody knows that you terrorize women into fucking you.
Yes.
That's how sex happens.
I mean... I'm not saying that it's not effective.
Well, seems to work. It's definitely my experience. So it's kind of interesting because here at this point in the movie, I had no idea. I was like, well, the jig is up and we're only a half hour into this hour and a half long movie. So I don't know where it's going to go from here, but maybe we just get a wholesome like holiday movie or something like that. And they go to bed early and I was like, this is cool. I was like, cool. I'm glad they got found out.
I was really expecting it to go.
And then it just turns it up to 11.
Right. I really thought it was going to be they were revealed that they were fucking with her, but then someone actually invaded their home. Like, I thought that was like
Yeah, here comes
twist.
Yeah, here comes
which
the actual Home Alone movie.
Which would have been weird. That doesn't happen. All of a sudden, like, they go full, like, Bond villain mode.
Yeah.
It's a real twist, and Ashley is not amused. She says, "What delusional infant thinks staging a break-in is going to get them to second base?" And to me, I thought, like, well, they're cuddling up pretty close in that closet. It's not a terrible idea. But
it's one of those middle school ideas where it's like, well, she'll have to be close to me in proximity, and then so steal underwear, step 2, question mark, step 3, profit.
Yeah.
And it's like, somehow something will happen.
Yeah. It's from that perspective, it's interesting kid logic.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I could see that being the thought process for kids, but then it goes to another place because Ashley says, like, that's enough of this. I am, calling your parents.
Yeah.
And she starts going towards the stairs when Luke promptly pistol whips her in the back of the head, and she falls down a flight of stairs.
Yeah, and it's just kind of crumpled, just kind of like, oh shit, he murdered her just now. She fell down the stairs, broke her back, and now here we are.
Right.
Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead.
And then she wakes up, which is a turn in of itself of like, oh no, he's stopping her from incriminating him, and then it went too far.
Yes.
Of like, oh no, how is he going to deal with this? And then Ashley wakes up tied up.
Right.
And
it's like, oh, hello.
And he just starts doing this villain monologue.
Yeah.
Like laying out like, yes, this was my plan all along. The question I started asking is, how long exactly were his parents going to be gone? Like, how long did the events of this movie take?
It did feel like he had an inordinate amount of time. But, I mean, this is all kind of willing suspension of disbelief kind of stuff. And they do make a pretty good attempt at explaining his nonchalance with the time, which is he's got a tracker on his parents' phone. And he watches it. He's like, where are they at now? Where are they at now? And this is a very Home Alone-esque sort of movie where it's like, the kid's got it figured out. Don't ask questions. It's just the kid has it.
Yeah. So, and then it explains a couple things like, they're pretty depraved. Garrett's like on Oxy that Luke gave him. They're getting real like druggy, drunk, rapey vibes. They're giving off all those vibes.
Yeah,
and I was like,
it turns real Children of the Damned pretty quick. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, I was asking myself, is she going to get raped by 12-year-olds?
Yeah.
No, she's not. And that's where they go wrong.
I never thought I'd hear that. But you're not wrong.
So, I mean, it's a little confusing because what exactly are Luke's motives here? For the rest of the film, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because for the rest of the film, he's basically tormenting Ashley's boyfriend and ex-boyfriend.
And her
for why?
Right. So, I mean, the answer is this is a very Scream-esque answer. And this is kind of what I liked about this character is he's just high on blood rage, he just got a taste for blood and it went too far and oh, the movies, like I've watched so many movies and this is how they do it in this one and that's where they mess up. It's like he's got a little too much knowledge too early. He's clearly depraved.
Yeah.
And now he's just kind of letting his freak flag fly. And that's all the answer you really need.
Yeah.
Right. They don't want you to have a real, truly culpable kid. It's just a bad guy now,
Yeah. Which is like, they could have made this real dark. Like, it's pretty dark.
I'm
but
glad
they
didn't make it because although I kind of do wish they went a little bit harder, because they go so... The spectrum that they range is so huge in this movie. It's like...
In terms of gore and violence, like, it's full on.
Yeah.
But, like, honestly, if the entire purpose of this kid's action is to get action from Ashley, like... Okay, for the record, I'm just thinking like a villain here.
Like always.
I'm just thinking like a psychopath. Why wouldn't you rape your babysitter?
I didn't go missing, David. The FBI knew where I was the entire time.
I knew where she was.
I'm just saying. Like,
well,
if you're a real psychopath, I mean...
If we have any audio engineers out there, or anybody who's willing to clip some audio for Bryce and turn him into the monster that he really is, trying to be right now, you feel free. You know?
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Right.
But no, he doesn't do that. He gets her boyfriends to come deliberately.
Come over, yeah, with the intent of torturing them.
Which, if you are a 12-year-old boy, can you think of a worse idea than calling over like 18-year-old boys?
It's kind of great though, because it sets your expectation as the movie watcher. You're like, this kid's fucked.
Yeah.
When these 18-year-olds get here,
yeah,
because you know the difference between a 12-year-old and an 18-year-old, and then it happens, kind of. It's like these 18-year-olds show up, and they kind of like push this kid around, and he's like, oh, shit, I'm just physically not able to cope with what's going on.
Right.
And then he gains the upper hand anyway. And that's what makes it a real triumph on his part. You kind of... Yeah. There's a little bit of like, how could he possibly... And then you kind of root for him a little bit. You're like... Wow, I can't believe you pulled that off in such a seemingly believable way. That is what would have to happen,
right,
in order for this to take place as it did.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of disappointed because what you really want after watching this little shithead is you want the ending to be him just utterly beaten,
right?
Like, and it would not take very strong. Ashley could kick the shit out of this kid if she got free. And that's a little bit of a problem for me too. Is like one person could easily overpower both of these kids.
Right.
Like, this is not like they just were not thinking straight, because they could have immediately overtaken him and beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, their sin was not taking the threat seriously.
Right.
Right. Is going, oh, that's a little kid, I don't have to worry about it. And their actions, even the little kid's actions, Garrett with the guns, each time he's like, please don't move, please don't move.
Right.
I have this gun on you and I don't want to pull the trigger. So it's all believable and it's all kind of interesting. But then Ricky,
to that effect, like where they're just like, he's just a kid. It's great that Ashley just keeps calling him like kiddo.
Yeah, the whole time.
She's like tied up and is like, oh,
it burns each time.
Yeah.
But so Ricky, her current boyfriend, comes over, and I'm just going to kind of move us forward here just a little bit. He comes over, gets knocked out, and similarly tied up into a chair, and then this is where the movie really had my jaw on the floor. Luke was like, hey, I'm basically crazy at this point. I've lost my mind. So, hey, Garrett, remember that discussion where we were talking about whether or not the paint can would crack their skull open or not? Let's test it out. And you're like, oh, shit. So he's got a paint can up on the banister, just like Home Alone.
They mentioned Mythbusters. And then one of the best lines in the movie, which is also in the trailer, is like, dude, you're fucking Home Aloneing him? Which is awesome.
And he does like a test run of the paint can. He's like, is it level with his head? And his level of excitement about testing this is
through the
roof. And it's so fucking creepy. And you're just like, oh, this is gross.
It misses the guy's head by like 2 feet off to the side. And then Ashley frees herself, and as she has the gun and aiming it at Luke, he lets the paint can go again.
She's like, drop it. And he's like, oh, you mean like this? And he drops it the way you might drop it.
And then you don't see it, but it's such a great effect because you just hear a splat and yellow paint everywhere.
Mixing
and then
with red blood.
It's looking down at his shoes with like this yellow paint dripping and all of a sudden like a bunch of red.
You get the exact impression of what exactly happened, which was his head caved in completely. And there's just so much blood and so much paint all over the place.
Okay, so
fucked up.
So here's the question: would that happen?
I think we have to test it.
I don't think it would.
No?
Like, is a paint can that heavy? What is it, like 2 pounds?
So I think a paint can... Okay, so first of all, a paint can in and of itself is probably 1 or 2 pounds. Just alone.
Right.
That's with no paint in it.
Yeah.
And then once you get the fluid in there, there's at least a gallon, and that's... a gallon is 8 to 9 pounds, something like that. So you're talking about probably north of 12 or 13 pounds, like for one paint can. And then you're talking about throwing it out into space and then having it build up speed as it comes down. And I don't know that it would. I guess the real question is: does it flat land on your face, or does a corner come in contact first?
Yeah.
Because if it flat hits your face with just the round part of the can, and it smacks you, it probably just knock you out. But if all that force is focused on the bottom corner, so it just comes into contact with one point of your skull, just one little, it could really fucking crack your head open.
Here's the problem. If the bottom corner hits your head, like the weight from the top is going to keep going forward, and so it's just going to, instead of like hitting
I understand
flat,
what you're saying.
it's going to go boom. Like
I do understand what you're saying. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to test it out, really.
I think Mythbusters actually did do a thing on this. Yeah. Anyways, we'll fact check that. So yeah, that's when it really turns the corner on the depravity.
At this point, I was like, this movie's fucking amazing. Like, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
They went for it.
Like I said, the kid's squeaky voice is 10 out of 10 on this movie. And Ashley is awful at fighting a little boy. Like, utterly terrible.
I think I don't want to talk out of school here, but I mean, girls, I have girls. They don't
commit.
They don't fight.
Yeah.
They just don't physically fight, really. They do little pokey bullshit to each other a little bit here and there. But man, I've never seen girls really, I mean, there are rare occasions where girls will get into physical tiffs, but boys do it as a matter of fact. Like every day my brother and I would wrestle around, and I probably would be beating on him. Like that was the what's on the docket today, and that was there. It was like, fuck Garrett up.
Gonna focus on the arms, gonna focus on the legs,
right?
A little bit of face.
Yeah, and so it's like I'm not a fighter kind of guy, but I've been in plenty of little wrestling tiffs and shit. Like.
I think it really depends on whether the girl grew up with boys or not. Because my daughter could dole it out.
Oh yeah,
yeah. If she's mad enough, she will fuck up some little brothers.
And then there's I mean, you got the X factor of some girls think they have some sort of pass, where it's like, no one can touch me, so I can just slug away, which I think is what you mentioned your sister would do.
Oh yeah,
when she would get angry, she'd just rail on you because she knew she was invincible.
It was that was a whole thing. So skipping forward, he calls her ex-boyfriend, which is Jeremy.
I love this guy.
Yeah, he's a huge douche.
I love this guy.
He's got the unbent baseball cap with the sticker on it. Why is that a thing?
The snapback.
Why is that a thing?
Why is that? I don't know. I have no idea.
It looks so stupid. It's like, why not keep your tags on your shirt and let them hang out?
I think it has something to do. I think the thing. So this is old men talking about.
It's got to be
kids these days.
No, I get it. It's like you're showing that it's pristine.
No, it's not even that. I think it's like I got so much of this shit. I'm so wealthy. I don't even have time to take like the stickers off. You know, like here's the price tag is still on this thing.
No, I don't. I think it really is keeping it pristine because I've heard, you know, these Gen Z, younger millennial types like talk about like, oh yeah, you know, these, I got my white sneakers, got to keep them clean. Like it's a thing to like keep stuff spick and span and like they just came out of the box. So in terms of like white sneakers or...
Isn't that so weird? Because in our generation, the whole thing was like, look like a homeless person.
How much of a slob can you make yourself look like?
Big baggy pants.
Jinko jeans. Jinko jeans and like real baggy like open flannels on like over ratty t-shirts.
Worn out cords that are too big and fall down off your ass. And and then now
like
it's
the shoe. Can you imagine anyone caring about their shoes in like pre-2000s?
Yeah,
like it's so foreign to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there was Jordans. Jordans were always a thing.
Yeah, Jordans were always a thing.
But that was like more of like they're an investment and they're expensive, but not like check out my shoes.
Yeah.
Like, okay. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
We're old men.
Obviously, if you were to take a picture of us, you would understand why we don't understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's kind of...
You're like a big dirty raccoon.
So, it goes, there's a little monologue where Luke, well, okay, stuff happens, things happen. Luke kills lots of people, including Garrett, his best friend.
Man, when he kills Garrett with that, he fucking shoots him with the shotgun, and he's just like... And the kid flies across the room, and...
Yeah,
like,
it's a great... That is a great acting moment, because it shows him, he's like crying and broken up, and then you see him like turn it off.
Yeah, he's like, no, you did, you're mean, you did this to me, Garrett. And then Garrett, like, the point in this movie where I was like, this movie is fucking hardcore, was when Garrett had been shot. He's begging for his life to his best friend, who they've established have known each other their whole lives.
Right.
And he says, I want my ma. And right as he says ma, he gets fucking shot again in the head with a shotgun. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's intense. And then there's a little revealing monologue by Luke where he talks about his mom used to tuck him in, then she stopped. I don't know why, and now I don't sleep well anymore, which has been established. And then Ashley says she knows why, but we never find out why.
Right.
Which is interesting. And then he stabs her in the throat. This is really surprising to me. Like,
I know, the whole thing is very shocking.
He goes, this is like the point where it's like, oh, Jesus. Like, I did not expect that to happen.
There were so many points in this movie where I was like, well, it can't get any crazier than this. And then there's a little 12-year-old kid begging for his life and saying he wants his mommy. And right then he gets fucking murdered with a shotgun.
Yeah.
And then the person that you would think would make it throughout the whole movie gets fucking stabbed in the neck.
Yeah.
And then this guy gets fucking hung from a tree with all these kills are so gratuitous. I mean, you can't. It's a very similar vibe to Silent Night, Deadly Night in a lot of different ways, because it's all so outside the realm of reality.
Yeah,
kills.
in terms of deaths, this is a real horror movie fan.
Yeah,
horror movie,
big time.
Just taking off his shirt.
God, it's hot.
Have you been using Manscaped on your?
I have
nips.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
nice.
No. You know, no nicks, no cuts.
Yeah.
I even tried. I took it and jammed it into my nipple on high.
Some people are into that. Yeah. Use code HMT at checkout at manscaped.com. And then it ends. I like the little touch in his room. I noticed that he has a poster that said "Video games made me do it," which is an interesting little poster. And then he cleans up everything, takes care of all these considerations. It's kind of a fun part where he's like setting up the ex-boyfriend, killing the boyfriend and Ashley, and setting up all the crime scene and stuff to he's
got it all down.
and he gets in bed and he's like scot-free. And there's lots of things that happen during that are fun. And then his parents come home. They're like, oh no, what could possibly happen? And his like the way he says that he's not culpable is he took a sleeping pill and he slept through the whole thing. He did. He never realized any of this stuff happened. He slept through gunshots. I don't think that would actually happen. But and then he wakes up. And like, oh, it's horrible.
I
all
slept
this
through
stuff
a fire
happened.
Alarm as a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Smoke alarm.
And then it ends with, oh, someone survived. And then Luke perks up and he's like, what the fuck?
What the shit is going on now?
And they roll Ashley into the ambulance, and we hear the EMT saying she put duct tape on her wound to stem the bleeding.
Yeah, which is a big callback in this movie because he keeps throwing duct tape over her mouth and then taking it off and throwing it on and taking it off.
And the question is, why wouldn't he notice that? But let's not be too much of a stickler. Anyway, she is wheeled off in the ambulance, and then as like a brief post or mid-credits thing. Did you wait for the mid-credits thing?
Yeah, where he's like, Mom, I'm really concerned about, what's her name?
Ashley.
I'm really concerned about Ashley.
Can we go to the hospital?
We need to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
It's pretty thick.
This movie definitely is pretty thick. I like it. I really enjoy the jiggle of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's been pretty fun to go through it. So, like, I admit it's definitely worth seeing. Again,
I'll be watching this movie. I will be watching this movie again. Yeah, for sure. Which is not something I say.
I'm a self-admittedly real stickler. There's like a couple little things that bothered me that brought the score down. One was that it didn't seem to go dark enough on the sex stuff.
Right.
Like that. They could have gone darker with that. And then the other one was like the switch flipped of him being like a normal kid to him being like a super villain.
Yeah.
Was like, it was a little too much for me.
I really liked both of them.
It was like, it was so stereotypical, like, I'm a psychopath now.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I do. And it's like, okay. Like, it'd be more compelling if he was like just a kid with very, very disturbing ideas that thinks it's possibly normal, you know?
Oh, well, you know.
But I don't know. That again, I'm being a stickler. Definitely worth seeing. Go check it out this holiday season. And we will move on. Any final recommendations for this?
If you don't shut your fucking mouth, I will kill you.
Okay, moving on. Let's move on to Kill Count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 36.
It's Kill Count.
45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. I hate that intro. I thought we had another one. Don't we have another one?
No, I don't think so.
I can't believe you did this to our... I can't believe you done this.
Okay, so this Kill Count is going to be a Christmas horror themed Kill Count. So on Kill Count, what we do is we compare two movies, and you have to guess which one has the higher kill count. In this round, we're going to do all Christmas horror. Okay. So
you at home or on your podcast listener device, play along and tell us how you do compared to me.
So we got 5 rounds, starting with round 1. First round is the original Black Christmas versus Gremlins.
Oh, boy, man. I think... So we reviewed both of those movies. That was our first... That was like within the first 4 months of us starting the podcast, both of those. And maybe 5 or 6 months, something like that.
Yeah.
And, boy, Black Christmas did not seem to have that many kills in it. I think it probably only had around, at like most, like seems like under 10, like single digits.
Okay.
And Gremlins, I mean, it just to my mind seems like there was a lot more. And then sometimes also the way some of these sites that we get these numbers from, these kill numbers, they seem to skew up. So I'm gonna say Gremlins handily.
Okay. Wrong.
No.
Black Christmas has 8 kills. Gremlins only has 6.
But all those Gremlins die.
Only 3. Oh, we're not counting Gremlins.
Gremlins' lives matter. These are kills.
We're talking about kills. Like
These are kills.
The villains are killing.
They're losses of life, Bryce. Who are you to say which kind of life is more important?
Okay, well, in that case, I think Gremlins actually does eke it out.
In any event, according to your rules, I did.
If it is without Gremlins, there's only 6 dead, and only 3 are on screen.
Yeah,
which is
I know.
Interesting. But with Gremlins, it's probably over 10. So,
anyway.
All right. Well, that's you called me out on that one. Next, we have the Black Christmas 2019 remake versus the Black Christmas 2006 remake.
Okay, so we haven't watched the 2006 remake. We have seen the 2019 remake, and it was kind of interesting. Like it was. Somebody on our Horror Movie Talk Facebook group mentioned like they like how it's tackling like somewhat important issues, but they didn't like how heavy-handed it was. And I agree with that exact sentiment, which is like, oh, this is kind of a new and interesting spin on things, but geez, you're really slapping us in the face with the cock of this like really like politically correct kind of mumbo jumbo, and you could treat it a little bit better. But anyway, I've heard that the 2006 one is actually pretty darn good.
So if you're going to hazard a guess, which one has the higher kill count?
I hope that it's 2006, but I bet I'm going to say it's 2019.
Wow, you're right. 2019 has 22 kills.
It seemed pretty gratuitous.
2006 had 18, which is still pretty high.
Yeah, it's still pretty high.
2019 seemed like, I mean, there's a lot of group kills. Like, it seemed like there's, like, groups of people and villains that all got killed. So, anyways. Good. So, I guess you're 2 out of 2 so far.
I think
pull this one out.
Okay.
Next is Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh, baby.
My favorite. Versus Jack Frost.
Okay.
Not the Michael Keaton one. The Jack Frost that raped Shannon Elizabeth with a carrot.
Wow. A little bit of trivia for those of you who aren't familiar with Silent Night, Deadly Night. It was released on the exact same weekend as Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, back in 1984, and it beat the ever-loving shit out of it upon release. And then 2 weeks into its release, it was pulled from all theaters because it was too controversial. It was too...
I feel like you're delaying with
too
trivia.
Fucked up. And so we're going Silent Night, Deadly Night versus Jack Frost.
Straight to video.
So Jack Frost is such a by the books slasher, corny slasher that you would think it would have more kills, but I really have a lot of confidence in my boy that Silent Night, Deadly Night is just so over the top, even ahead of its time in slasherdom. So I'm going to say Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Wow. 3 out of 3, David. Silent Night, Deadly Night has 13 kills. Jack Frost has 10.
Wow, you're putting them real close.
Yeah.
These are close.
All right, next. I mean, you've already won the game. But let's do the last 2. We got Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
Garbage Day!
Versus Red Christmas.
I don't know what that is. What is that? Do you have any idea?
It's a movie called Red Christmas.
Oh, boy. Now I got nothing. I have no logic to apply to this necessarily. I haven't seen anything about Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 except for the famous line, Garbage Day. I guess I have to put my money on Garbage Day. I just have to...
Wow, 4 out of 4.
Yeah!
Knocking it out of the fucking park.
Yay.
Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 tied with Silent Night, Deadly Night with 13 kills, and then Red Christmas has 11.
Am I pregnant or am I okay?
Maybe my women's intuition has got me this far.
Okay, last one is Krampus.
I think I'm going to review that this month.
Versus the Ginger Dead Man.
Okay. I'm definitely going to, just based on the name, I'm going to say the Ginger Dead Man.
God damn it, 5 out of 5.
Woo!
Perfect score.
Swishing.
Krampus was a trick one because...
No one dies.
No one dies.
Yeah.
They're all captured.
Yeah. I saw that in theaters. I think that was 2015, and I had a pretty good time watching that. So I think I'm going to try and review that this month or so.
Okay, so that's it for Kill Count, and that's it for the show. Thank you for listening. If you like the show, please share it with a friend. If you have an Apple product, leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. If you got any other platform that allows reviews, like Overcast or what's that other one? Stitcher. Leave us a review. It really does help us out and gets us more visible to other people. Other ways you can support the show, go to our website, horrormovietalk.com. We got a couple links at the top. One to Amazon. If you're going to buy stuff for Christmas or spend money that you got on Christmas, use that link and then we'll get a little taste of that. Also, check out our Patreon. If you like the show, you will love our Afterpod and the bonus content and social experience that only Patreon can bring. Check that out at Patreon.
It's a really good community.
Yeah, they're all super fans. Patreon.com/horror movie talk. Special thanks to Dustin again, as always. All our fans for listening. And if you have a voicemail to leave us, call us at 682-253-4468. We love you.
We love you guys.
Merry Christmas.
Merpy Messmas.
Bye-bye.
Looking for a podcast full of burps and gas, perverted cast, skinny and fat? Look no further. Horror Movie Talk is accidentally funny, begs to donate money, fake sponsors for dummies, and so much more. New episodes every hump day. They'll pickle your dickle for foreplay. Patreon members have it your way. Vote for a movie every month for the review. Choppa choppa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone, hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids, swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Drain addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner Robinson kiss. Bryce Hansen, look at them hot kids, Chris Henson. Masturbate with a crucifix, exorcist. Face hugger, chest bursters, alien. Linda Blair peed on Sigourney Weaver. I know it's true cause it came from social media. Patrick Bateman can't understand you. Stab you to death for rotten apple reviews. Opinionated podcaster with a doctorate. Spookology, doctor of philosophy. Bad gastritis, need colostomy. Turn Patreons into human centipedes. David Doobie Day, scare him, no expert. And Goble fucks hard, professional sexpert. Afterpods, taglines, and porno flicks. American Psycho, them guys pretty sick. Choppa choppa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone, hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids, swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Train addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner Robinson. Nothing good happens in the woods. Always get more than you bargain for. Got a pickle to dickle, machines tickle bitties. Killer on the phone, ain't no Sharon Stone. Vancouver, Portland, Oregon, and organs. Corona, COVID, curse, Lorona. Green River Killer, because reasons. Hallway of poop monster kids screaming. Ain't your ordinary dingleberry itinerary. 30-day shutter and jump scares ain't fucking scary. Time for the spoilers with jokes and tropes. Use their white socks to catch their loads. Just show 'em one titty, pretty. Paganism you should worship, they Teflon dicks. Pacific Northwest, let them see one breast. Shifty ass, stay spooky, poor man's digress. Bugsy, HMT, horror movie talk.